And Dr. Adil, I'm coming straight to you. With the latest decision of the International Court of Justice, they're asking for something which so far has been very difficult to achieve. One, they have made several orders previously as well to halt the military operation in Gaza. That has not happened. Now they're asking to halt a military operation in Rafah. Two, they are asking to open the Rafah border crossing so that the humanitarian aid can go in easily. Three, to ensure access to Gaza for investigators and fact-finding missions. And last, report to the court within a month on its progress in applying these measures. Do you see Israel complying to this?
I'm not sure Israel will comply. Mr. Netanyahu certainly does not seem to be in a mood to respect international law, and we've seen nothing from his government that would give us that confidence. But that doesn't mean that this is without consequence. I think what this decision, and today not only did the decision come, but we also saw in these areas. So what all of that means is that the world is caving in on Israel and Mr. Netanyahu, and the pressure is on. And whether he complies or not, he is losing friends fast. He is losing supporters fast, even in countries which had steadfastly stood with him. Even in the U.S., we see that eroding. Eroding doesn't mean it has gone away, but the space that Mr. Netanyahu might have had 6 months ago is certainly not the one he has to.
Right. Katrina, I don't understand when somebody says that has become Netanyahu's personal war, because he is facing immense challenges domestically and globally as well. But even if he's replaced, his entire war cabinet is pursuing the same agenda when it comes to Palestine. Do you think removing Netanyahu, or for that matter anyone taking over the Netanyahu's space, is going to change anything?
That's a tough question, but it is in many ways driven by his personality. If you recall, even way back in the 90s, he became famous by his commentary during the invasion of Kuwait. And he came across as a hawk then, he's a hawk now, and he depends entirely on his hawkishness to propel his international and domestic agenda. And he's in so far that he's not going to be stepping back anytime soon. So, yeah, to answer your question, I don't think that there's going to be any qualitative difference in how this war will be prosecuted should he not be there anymore, because the entire Israeli war cabinet is just as hawkish as he is. We are talking about an entire change in government to bring about any change in the positions taken.
Right. Dr. Adil, a lot is under discussion ever since the sad and tragic demise of President Raisi, the Iranian president. And there are experts who think that nothing's going to change because the domestic politics, which directly control the foreign policy of Iran, they are not going to change. And some think while there is going to be presidential election, there is going to be an interim period where we might see some ambiguity from Iran. How do you see it?
I think there is certainly a change. You know, even when faces change, there is a change because other opportunities come. So I think both parts of that premise are correct. It is true that the president in Iran is not as powerful as the title might suggest, and the power lies not only with the supreme leader, but also within the military establishment there, also within the clergy, and so on and so forth. So it's a balance. So all of that is true, but that doesn't mean that the removal of someone or the death in this case of someone at this level does not have a change. The most important change it does is there are two important changes that happen immediately. One is the level of uncertainty increases, right? So the question marks now from moving from we know who the president is to we don't know who the president is changes, and uncertainty increases the uncertainty in a region, in a country where uncertainty is already very high and already very costly. The second and important thing it does is it creates space for other actors. Jockeying for who will be not just the next president, but who might be next in line for the supreme leader. So the politics changes both within Iran and internationally clearly with this.
All right. Katrina, Dr. Adil has talked of the ambiguity, or what he says is that there is going to be a period where we might see some sort of security blanket which might favor Iran. Do you agree to that? Also, the foreign policy in Raisani's time, it has been more directed towards coinciding with the Middle East, coinciding with Russia, China, and Afghanistan. Do you see that to continue even after Raisani?
I think that I agree with Dr. Adil. We are not going to see substantial changes because Iran, at the end of the day, were pretty much coming through from Ayatollah Khamenei. Now, we're not going to see substantive changes in that. I don't see any major regional shift. I agree that there will be a time of ambiguity, but Dr. Raisi, or Mr. Raisi's, predominantly his work was on the domestic front. He was focusing very heavily. He would travel a lot, which is part of what happened when he had traveled to this far-flung area and when the crash occurred. So he was focusing more on domestic policy. We are going to see possibly some changes on the domestic front, given whoever the new president is. But by and large, foreign policy in Iran has been very consistent for different organizations in the world. Iran was trying to open up. And we saw that, as you mentioned, as recently as last month. So whether that will continue or not, we don't know. But as far as the foreign policy pertaining to Israel and to the larger issues of the Middle East, I don't think we're going to see any change.
Right.